Hey there, Tammy Kabell with Career Resume Consulting, and today I am really excited about sharing this information with you. So, you know that I like to share with you the latest and greatest research on what you can do to get a job faster, to win an interview, to win the job, and actually negotiate a package that pays you what you're worth. So today I'm extremely excited because a study just came out that talked about the characteristics of being irresistible, the 5 characteristics of being irresistible. And I want to share those with you and how you can use those in an interview. So I'm going to put them in an interviewing setting for you, okay? So let me explain this study for you. A recent study just came out that looked at hundreds of hours of TED Talks, several hundred hours. Now, TED Talks are on YouTube, and they are basically business talks, usually about topics regarding leadership and innovation and engagement and all kinds of wonderful things. You should really look them up. I'm actually quite a fan of TED Talks, and if I were to be truthful with you, I would have to say that I am addicted to TED Talks, and I watch them every night before I go to bed because I can learn so much from some of the great leaders. And they really take the best leaders and they put them out on the stage and they do these talks. Now, these talks range anywhere from 6 minutes to over an hour sometimes. And here's what the study did. The study looked at hundreds of hours of TED Talks, and they studied the difference between the TED Talks that had maybe 40,000 views and then the TED Talks that were on the exact same subject but had 4 or 5 million views. So there was a big difference there in the viewership, and they wanted to know why. Why were some TED Talks really addictive, and why were some of them just passed by most people? So they found 5 characteristics that I want to share with you, and these will make you irresistible in an interview. So I want to tell you exactly how to use these in each one, and I want you to be able to take notes. So if you need to get a pen and paper and pause this video right now, go ahead and do that. All right, so the first thing that they noticed was that they took 2 groups of people. They had one group of people watch the TED Talk with the audio on, and they had another group of people watch the TED Talk with the audio muted. Poor guys. I feel sorry for them, but what they wanted to judge was what was the difference in perception of, I believe it was 3 things. I think it was credibility, charisma, and intelligence, and that's what they were measuring. And they took the scores from the muted videos and the ones with words, and what they found was that there was no difference in the exact same video between that with words and that without words. In other words, your credibility, your charisma, and your intelligence are judged by your nonverbal communication techniques. Very, very important. So, you know how a lot of people, and I know you're probably one of them, are really worried about, am I saying the story right? Am I giving the right answer? Am I saying the right words? But honestly, there's not a lot of difference between the way that you, the words that come out of your mouth and the way that you're perceived. Don't worry about the words. It's all in how you deliver it. This is vitally, vitally important to the interviewing process and even to the networking process if you're talking with a center of influence that can help you find a decision maker that can help get you a job. Okay? So the second study that they did was that they had one group of participants watch just 7 seconds of the video, the first 7 seconds of the video, and then they had another group of participants watch the same video but all the way through, and they judged of course, the charisma, the oh gosh, I forget it now. The charisma, something like competence and the intelligence of the people. Now I'm forgetting what it was, but it was judged on those same 3 characteristics that I mentioned before. But here's what they found: that there was no likability difference between The 7 seconds, the first 7 seconds, and the full video. No likability difference, no trust, no charisma, no intelligence difference. None of those factors changed from the first 7 seconds. What that means is that in your elevator pitch, in your first impression, those first 7 seconds are crucial, and that's what you've got to focus on. You've got to focus on those first 7 seconds, because someone will make up their mind in the first 7 seconds. Because it's actually been shown in other studies that a woman will decide whether she's actually going to date a man in the first, I think, 9 seconds that she meets someone. It's amazing. And you can also see studies that show that recruiters will spend 6 seconds of their attention on each person's resume. So they really don't need more than 6 seconds before making up their mind as to whether they're going to give you a call. It's pretty sad. So 7 seconds is really the key when you're in an interview. Phone interview, it's the same. It's because of some of the other things that I'm going to tell you in just a moment. The phone interview is going to be just as important as the face-to-face interview in the first 7 seconds. All right? So keep that in mind. Now, the number 3 thing that they learned, the key attribute, is that hand gestures make a big difference. So when leaders were up there, the best and the brightest of them out there, when they were being judged, that's what it is: credibility, charisma, and intelligence. I remembered it. So when they're being judged by those things, hand gestures meant everything. Hand gestures show intention and explanation. So for instance, if you say, there were really 3 things that went into how I solved this problem. Or you can say, you know, there was this one, that reminds me of this one time where I was confronted by a really big issue. In other words, use your hands, use those hand gestures. What they found is that the people that had 4, 5, 6 million views on these TED Talks were using hand gestures of over 400 times during their TED Talk. And then the ones that were 40,000, 50,000 views were only using 200 or 220 hand gestures. So it was half of the people that had all of the views. So really, hand gestures mean something. You don't have to overinflate it. You don't have to be huge with it because you're not on stage. However, use your hands intentionally and use them as explanation to make your point and make it well. If it's a big problem, show it's a big problem. If it took a long time to get that done, show that it took a long time to get that done. If you were able to do something in 3 simple steps, with the first step being ABC, the second step being, DEF, whatever it might be. So keep that in mind. You want to keep hand gestures. Now, the 4th, and this is where the phone comes in, the 4th one is called Volkl Charisma. This one's a little bit harder to explain, but it is really the way that you use inflection in your voice. Now, if you notice, I talk with a lot of enthusiasm. I love what I do. I've got the best job in the world, and I show it in my voice, right? So even when you're talking on the phone, if you are somebody who does something, if you're really able to do something very well, show that you're able to do it well. Show that vocal inflection. And this is really important when you're doing your elevator pitch. In other words, when you've got that memorized 15-second introduction of yourself, which I call an audio business card. So if you want to look it up on another video, I will tell you exactly step by step how to make a great audio business card, which is the evolution of the 15-second elevator pitch. So use vocal inflection when you're telling your elevator pitch. Even though it's memorized, it has to sound like it's the first time it's ever left your lips, ever. All right? So you have to keep that in mind. Make sure you've got vocal inflection on the phone And remember, first 7 seconds counts. So be very enthusiastic. You're enthusiastic about the job, the position. You're enthusiastic about the company. You're enthusiastic about the industry. If you're changing industries, you've got to show that enthusiasm in your voice. And if you've got a deadpan personality, hey buddy, work on it. Show some enthusiasm. If you say, yeah, I'm an FBI hostage negotiator, how enthusiastic is that? Even though you might have the most exciting job in the world, it doesn't, yeah, I'm an emergency room nurse. That's not going to help. So you've got to show enthusiasm. All right, number 5, the 5th one and the last one is, guess what? It's smiling. Smiling counts. Now here's what they found in the TED Talks, that leaders smile less often when talking versus other people that are non-leaders that are on stage and presenting. So leaders smile less. However, the leaders that got the big views, there was a sweet spot of 14 seconds, 14-second smile, where they found something authentic that they really liked smiling about, and they smiled for 14. They kept that smile going for 14 seconds. Now, you don't have to be scientific about this. However, when you're on the phone, you can hear a smile in your voice. You've probably heard the term smile and dial if you've ever been in phone sales, or if you've ever done telemarketing or heard of telemarketing. It's always smile and dial. I know recruiters do a lot of smile and dial. So they hear that in the phone. So when you're on the phone, smile. Even if you are a leader, you need to smile, all right? And you need to find something, this is important too, you need to find something that's authentic to smile about. Something that you really enjoy, that you can stretch out that smile a little bit longer so that it makes a point, okay? So that's what I've got to teach you today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked this information, these ninja secrets and how you can use them in your interviewing, I want you to subscribe below if you're on YouTube watching this. And if you'd like some more information about, well, free resources, sample resumes, I've got a 50-page book that I wrote about six-figure professionals, and really the job search manual for six-figure professionals. That's free on my website. Just go to the free resources. Now my website is careerresumeconsulting.com. We're an executive career firm. We work all over the world, and we work with clients to help shave months off of their search and find them the perfect job and get them paid what they're worth. All right? So if you want to talk with us about our services, feel free to call our office at 816-600-2478. Or if you're out of the country, we work with a lot of people in Europe and Australia, and also in Asia. And if you're interested in talking with us about maybe an expat position, or if you live out of the country, feel free to send me an email. It's Tammy, Tammy, at beyondjobsearching.com. And we can set up a Skype session, and I'd be happy to talk with you. And one of our coaches can get back with you very quickly. Feel free to look through the website. It's got a lot of really good resources on it. And I look forward to hearing about your successes very soon. And I will talk to you next week. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.